Thanks for watching this portion of Garage Logic on our YouTube channel, and thanks to our friends at Everest Men's Health for supporting this. Go to everestmenshealth.com to see if their team can help you with stronger energy and better health. And catch the Garage Logic podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Well, we have a bit of a breaking story.
On a podcast.
Well, that doesn't really work on a podcast, does it? You might not listen to this for a couple of weeks.
What just happened?
You'll recall the thin blue line decal controversy last week in Sartell, Minnesota, when a woman, I think I can identify her as a woman, named Hannah Kozlowski, had started a petition to remove the thin blue line decal from police cars in Sartell, St. Cloud area. She's coming into play again in a different arena. The lead story on the national Fox News site right now, and many emailers have alerted me to this. I would have discovered it, but I was alerted before I even saw the Fox national story. A Minnesota fourth grade student and her mother expressed concern to their local school board after her class was given an equity survey and students were told not to tell their parents about it. Sitting alongside her mother, Kelsey, fourth grader Haley Yasgar told Fox and Friends on Monday that the questions were confusing and it made her nervous and uncomfortable when the students were told not to tell their parents. Well, I think that's against the law. I think parents get to be told things, don't they?
Yeah.
According to a video uploaded by Alpha News, which is local, when students didn't understand some of the survey questions, they were told by a teacher in the Sartell St. Stephen School District to not repeat the survey questions to their parents. The survey asked questions that some students didn't understand. Even after hearing the explanation from their teacher, some still could not comprehend the survey questions. The Center Square reported. The George Floyd incident sparked a nationwide conversation on race and the role of policing. School districts across America are pushing critical race theory on students to attempt to contextualize current events on matters of race. All right. CRT curriculum has sparked national conversation about the role of race and racism in school districts across the country. Kelsey Yasgar said that although parents were informed that the equity audit was taking place, they were not informed of the date and not given other details. She explained further that due to the lack of transparency from the school district and from Equity Alliance Minnesota, the third party that administered the survey, parents were not informed of the questions being asked of the students. Yasgar was upset when her daughter told her that she was instructed by teachers not to repeat any of the questions being asked of them. Just a minute, I'm reading from the computer here. I do want to say I believe that this wasn't a single cause that her teacher made the decision. We've been informed that this came down from the administration, and Equity Alliance of Minnesota instructed them to make sure the children did not share this information with their parents, and that should pose a great concern in any parent's eyes, Haley said. Fox News reached out to the district superintendent and Equity Alliance of Minnesota for statements, but did not receive a response. The questions, teacher told the students they couldn't ask their parents for help, according to student Haley Yasgar. My teacher said that I could not skip any questions even when I didn't understand them. One question asked us what gender we identify with. I was confused with a lot of other classmates, Yasgar said during Monday night's meeting. She said students were told they could not repeat any of the questions to our parents. The school district has yet to respond to a comment. Being asked to hide this from my mom made me uncomfortable, like I was doing something wrong, she told the school board. The equity survey is part of a reckoning of how school systems nationwide should teach issues related not only to sexuality, but as well as race in a state where George Floyd died in police custody. Some parents call the curriculum divisive, while supporters say it's teaching history and showing how racist attitudes and activities are redlining, such as redlining, are embedded into daily life. So if it's critical race theory, I'm unsure about the gender questions. What do you have, Kenny, from a local radio station?
I have from KNSI. They don't cover any of that. What they do cover is the results of the questions.
Oh.
And here we go. The report outlined the study's findings after reviewing data collected by speaking with students, staff, community members, and what they saw when they observed schools within the district. Results are broken down into 6 areas called dimensions. When it came to systematic equity for students, students said they were concerned about racism, homophobia, and discrimination against students with disabilities. 66% of students in the focus group said they were not directly engaged with programming that addressed those issues, saying they weren't involved in any groups addressing race, cultures, or an understanding of others. Staff members voiced concerns about the lack of diversity, saying the district should hire more teachers of color. And then Dimension 2 focused on the efficacy of programs for students, which measures how schools support students. Dimension 3 looked at the district's utilization of resources. Roughly 75% of respondents said the district had strong technology internet infrastructure in place. Dimension 4, how curriculum represents equity. Students expressed strong dissatisfaction with the curriculum, saying it did not reflect the arts, achievements, histories, perspectives, languages, and journeys of the community served, nor does the curriculum help to reflect the global community.
Do we know when? Do we know when the kids had this survey? Because they're not. This is July. They're not in school. When did this take place? I wonder.
Good point.
Hold on, let me check my other source here. Recently is all I have. Recently, parents in the Recently, parents in the Sartell St. Stephen School District took justifiable umbrage at an $80,000 equity audit conducted by Equity Alliance of Minnesota. But no, they don't give a date here, Joe.
All right, Reeves, your next task, or Johnny Height. Look up Equity Alliance of Minnesota. Who are they?
Already did that.
What are they?
They are, quote, has been leading educational equity work for over 25 years. We work with organizations to support systemic equity and integration through careful and intentional use of professional development, external supports, including equity audits, facilitation and action planning, and student programming. Mission, through collaborative learning and advocacy, be the leading force for systemic educational equity and integration.
John, did you just say that they've been around for 25 years?
Yep, 25 years.
John, wow. Joe, beyond what the topics covered here, what really strikes fear into me is not telling your parents. Oh my God, that is the most dangerous thing a kid could ever do.
Well, plus, what's not to tell them? Let's play devil's advocate. Let's say this is all a wise counsel to enlarge the learning environment of the kids and expose them to different races and cultures and what have you. Why not? Why hide that from a parent? What is being hidden?
Well, that's an interesting sentence here, and my source here is something called PJ Media, which that's a far right conservative outfit. The sentence: there should be no need for subterfuge, unless, of course, your goal is to change young minds and create an aura of distrust between children and their parents.
Well, let's give that.
That's a home run,
right? But only far-right conservative organizations are going to cover a story like this, and along with their coverage comes their innate bias.
Yeah.
In other words, we don't know that this is being done to proselytize children into thinking about themselves differently than they already do. But I do have an email.
Wait a minute. So are you defending the failed academy here?
No, I'm not defending the failed academy. I'm trying to keep us on the straight and narrow.
Okay.
He's devil's advocate is what he said.
So far, the only mystery so far is, what were you hiding from parents?
True. But I guess the way I interpret it is this just the time they got caught?
Well, let me read you this email from Corey Yasger, who I can only assume is the husband, maybe, of the woman who was on Fox News with her daughter.
Okay.
Hail the Flashlight King. Joe, I was pleased to hear you mention the thin blue line flag controversy taking place in Sartell on Friday's show. You and the knuckleheads were discussing why the reporter felt the need to include gender pronouns in the story. I can assure you that this was most likely something requested by Hannah Kozlowski specifically. This controversy became news in the St. Cloud Sartell area when an article penned by Hannah was posted on a local St. Cloud website and became news in the St. Cloud area. At the end of the article, Hannah included a summary of who she is. Here is a link to that, and I've copied the summary below. Remember, this was written by Hannah, and we have verified that, right, Reavers?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It was written on a site called Unite St. Cloud. Could you please tell us what that is?
I have it right here. Mm-hmm. Well, John, you had the full description, but it looks like it's a community blog.
Exactly.
And what was the line that you mentioned, John? That they're here
vision to seek foster an empathetic community that chooses to stand up for one another regardless of race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, abilities, or socioeconomic background.
Hannah Kozlowski is a fat, genderqueer, loud and proud community member from Sartell, Minnesota. They graduated, this is Orwellian, they, because she doesn't say she. They graduated from Sartell High School in 2017 and completed their bachelor's degree, magna cum laude, in communication studies and studio art from Concordia College in Moorhead. Hannah is a member of Sartell's EEFA, Envisioned Equity for All group in Sartell, and currently works at Crew in St. Joseph, Minnesota. They enjoy writing, talking and sharing with friends, social justice work, hard cider, and binge watching The Circle. And then back to his email. In addition to being active in the Sartell area because of the Thin Blue Line flag controversy, Hannah is part of a group who is supporting an equity audit in Sartell schools. I emailed you a week ago with a long message sharing some information on this, which you mentioned on the air, but stated it was too long to read. I'll try to keep this shorter and to the point. The Sartell School Board hired Equity Alliance Minnesota to conduct an equity audit for $80,000. The audit concluded that the Sartell school and community is racist, and remarkably, Equity Alliance Minnesota has the solution to help fix this. Without going into too much detail, the report provided by the company included very biased results, which in some cases only reported what 13% of the students responded and then drew conclusions from that information. The most concerning thing, and what has Sartell parents actively pushing back, is the lack of transparency surrounding the audit. Part of the audit included a survey that was given to children in grades 3 through 12. The students were instructed that they should not talk with their parents about it. In addition, students could not ask their teacher to explain anything to them. Even after Freedom of Information requests filed with the school has not provided a copy of the questions and have stated they don't have a copy and can't get the questions from Equity Alliance Minnesota. We do have a copy of one question because a student took a photo of it during the survey. The question read, do you currently identify yourself as female, male, transgender, and then in parentheses, transgender people have a gender identity or gender expression that differs from their assigned sex. For example, they were born male but now identify as female, close parentheses. The choices included you are female, male, transgender, non-binary. Questions such as this are concerning when being asked to third graders who were instructed to not discuss with their parents and who were told they could not have things explained to them. The students did not get parents' permission to conduct the survey, which is against school policy and federal law, U.S. Code 1232H, Protection of Pupil Rights, which states that surveys regarding sex attitudes need prior consent from parents. And the emailer links me to a decision on from Cornell, a law decision from Cornell. There have been students and parents pushing back, which is a real ray of hope in Sartell. They even have a webpage to help with the fight, and that's called Kids Over Politics. Here are some additional links, Louder with Crowder and Alpha News. Pushing back in Sartell, Corey Yasgar. Well, again, what the hell are they doing? Those are tough questions for a third grader.
Yeah.
And why are they hiding that from the? We have too many sources to not believe that it's a fact that the school, either by administrative decree or the teacher's purview, told the children, don't discuss this with your parents.
Yeah, and if it is the teacher's purview, which in this case, it looks like it might be, according to the fourth grader, well, then the school board or whoever, the administrator, should come out and say, hey, something. They're completely quiet on it.
It's yeah. And do we take their silence as complicity?
I'm taking their silence is that they were afraid of exactly what's happening. We're talking about it. We're wondering, what the hell did you do?
So you mentioned the legality part of it when you first brought this up.
Mm-hmm.
What would happen if it is found that I mean, are people losing jobs? Are people going to jail? Like what?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I would imagine there's
should.
lawsuits as part of it. And
Well, because I read in the paper yesterday, I know you'll find that shocking. I read it in the paper yesterday that the state of Minnesota had a record number of, school board members that stepped down due to the last 12 months?
yes, I did see that.
Was it 50
Yeah.
school board members?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, if we're just,
I must admit, I saw it and I didn't read it.
oh, you pulled a Reavers.
I did a
You just
Reavers.
saw the
Did you
headline.
read it?
I did.
Why were they resigning?
They were citing things from a lot of parental pushback due to whether it's mask mandates, distance learning, things, the stuff that all of us parents are mad about.
They got tired of
Right.
dealing with.
Well, no, they got tired that their job actually became difficult.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's
Seriously.
not what I got from the story.
What'd you get
I
from
got
it?
from the
What'd you get
story that they were sick and tired of people coming and complaining about stuff that they didn't understand. That's what I got out of it.
Oh,
From
okay.
the person who was quoted.
Okay.
In other words, people were turning things into things that they weren't.
Overly dramatic.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
the danger we're facing here. Are we turning this into something that it isn't?
No, because you can't do that, Joe.
No, you have to inform parents. If it's a
That's-
sex attitude survey, you
Oh
have
my
to
God,
inform
that-
parents.
Exactly.
That is the biggest red flag in the world. Kids, if any adult ever says that to you, the first thing you need to do is go to
Is tell your parents.
No matter what it is, no matter if you think you're going to get in trouble,
Yep.
if it's embarrassing, if it's something you're uncomfortable about talking about, bring it up
That's-
with your parents.
that's
my word.
Kenny, that's legit
Yep.
the first thing I told, my oldest when he went to school. I said, I don't care what happens. If someone tells you don't tell mom and dad, you tell me immediately. You will never be in trouble.
One caveat, unless it's Uncle Kenny telling his nephews, don't tell your mom we just did 120 on the highway. That's okay.
Yes.